If you are not able to listen, you can't even say no, right? Lecture. Here we are asking two things: where we are and what we aim at. So self-evaluation, where we are and where we want to reach, that is self-evolution. You know, what kind of evolution that we want to make, where do we want to reach. Okay. So the background is, we exist as human beings, we want to live a fulfilling life, we have some desires and we have some programs for fulfillment. This is fine? Very simple statement. It is necessary for us to understand our basic aspiration and program for its fulfillment correctly and comprehensively. Only then we can ensure the fulfillment. This is also a very simple statement. This is what we have been trying to do in UHV-2. We want to study it further, study it in further depth in this course UHV-3. Okay. The goal of this course can be viewed as follows. So in this course, number one, we want to explore the human reality, its being, the basic aspiration, its fulfillment, particularly the self in more depth. The outcome of this exploration will be self is central to human existence, right? To explore deeper into nature and existence as coexistence. The outcome will be coexistence is central to existence. Everything that we see in nature and existence is the natural expression and unfolding of this coexistence. Right? This is the second thing. I am just placing these things, we will look into this in detail. Right? So one important conclusion we want to draw is that self is central to human existence. The other important conclusion we want to reach at is that the coexistence is central to existence, and everything that we see in nature is an expression of this coexistence. Third is to understand the role of human being in further detail in the light of the above two, 1 and 2. That is to understand the coexistence, to have the feeling and thought of coexistence, and to live in coexistence in mutual relationship with human being and the rest of nature. So this is what is my role in the existence. So I have only written down the outcomes, right? The outcome of the first exploration is that human being, self is central to human being. Outcome of the second investigation is that coexistence is central to existence, and everything that we see in nature is expression of this coexistence. And outcome of this third one is that the role of human being in this existence is to understand the coexistence, to have the feeling and thought of coexistence, and ultimately to live in coexistence in mutual relationship with human being and the rest of nature. This is broadly the outcome of the whole exploration that we are going to do in UHV-3. Okay. Our purpose and program depends on assumption or understanding about the existence, about the nature, about our own self. In UHV-2 we have seen that knowingly or unknowingly we have assumed some purpose in life, and we have some program for the fulfillment of the assumed purpose. So we have already assumed certain things, right? About ourselves, about the nature, about the existence, about our role in the existence, and so on. This setting up of the purpose and program depends upon our assumption about number one, human being, and number two, existence. So let us understand this very important thing, that our role in this existence or nature we are identifying on the basis of our assumption about our own self, about the human being, and our assumption about the nature, about the existence. Do you understand this, what is being said? Let me take an example to exemplify this. If you are made to believe that there is a struggle for survival and survival of the fittest, this is what we teach, in the name of science. That means we are telling the children that nature is by way of opposition, by way of struggle, right? We are also telling them that we as human beings have to struggle through this contradiction, this oppositions, and only we will be successful if we fight through, we struggle through. Okay? So we have some assumption about the existence, we have some assumption about human being, and on the basis of these two, we conclude about what is our purpose and what is our program for the fulfillment of that purpose. For example, you, on the basis of this set of assumption, you will conclude that I have to succeed, right? Succeed in this struggle, and in order to succeed I have to compete with the other, I have to oppose with the other. That is my program, right? Do you understand this? Yeah. So now every child in the class wants to succeed by way of competing with the other. So every child wants to come first in the class, and if there is a class of 60, how many people can come first? One. Right? Now this child who is trying to come first, look at these 59 other students as their relation, or as their opposition. Opposition. Right? Now with this feeling of opposition, will it lead to a state of happiness, unhappiness? Unhappiness. So by telling this to the child that the nature is by way of struggle for survival and the survival of the fittest, we are setting some set of belief in them, set of assumption in them, which is making them unhappy every moment. And we don't know that we are doing this, isn't it? When I am teaching this to the kids as a teacher, do I know this, that I am making his life unhappy? No. But we are doing it. This is what is happening, We collect this kind of assumption from the society, from the education, from friends, all around. Isn't it? We had some assumptions about these two before UHV 2, and now these assumptions have been modified through the process of self-exploration that we went through in the UHV 2 course. What do you think? Your assumption about human being and about the existence or nature, was it same before you did UHV 2 and after you did UHV 2? It has changed, and it is changing slowly, right? As you go on exploring about yourself, about the nature, it is slowly changing, right? Yes. Let us look at some details of this shift in our assumption and understanding. Assumption: before UHV 2, human being is equal to what? Body. After UHV 2, human being is coexistence of self and body. Can you see this change? If not completely, partially at least, right? Yeah. I would not say completely, because it takes time for you to really, undo all your assumptions otherwise.
It might still be an assumption rather than an understanding. So we have to differentiate between the another assumption, a previous assumption. In addition to that, we have a new assumption, and both of them are playing.
Yes. So there was one assumption that human being is equal to body. Now there is another assumption that human being is equal to coexistence of self and body. You might have assumed it without understanding. So you have to keep verifying it, whether it is an understanding or another set of assumption. Regarding the existence, before VHB2 we thought that existence is equal to material. Now we are trying to investigate into this, that existence is not just the material, but units submerged in space, and the units are of two types, the material unit and the consciousness unit. And when we are investigating into the units, particularly you can investigate yourself in terms of the self and body. The self is an unit of consciousness, body is an unit of material. I as human being is coexistence of the self and the body, therefore the coexistence of consciousness and the material. This all of us are investigating, right? Exploring. So now for you this existence is not just the material, which we thought before. Can I assume that? Does any of you still think that human existence is just the material? How many of you think like that? With this, if you look at the purpose of human being is happiness, right? Before UHB2, happiness through sensation and feeling from the other. This was the source of happiness. How do you try to derive happiness? By having good food, right? Good cars, like that. Or trying to get good feelings, favorable feelings from the other. That was the source of happiness for you. After UHB2, this need, the purpose is continuous happiness and prosperity. Happiness is to be in a state of harmony. So now you are trying to work out how you can be in a state of harmony to ensure this continuity of happiness, right? Just this sensation and getting feeling from the other cannot be the source of continuity of happiness. The program initially was accumulation of physical facility, and how much? Unlimited. This is what you thought, isn't it? Now you realize that the program for ensuring continuity of happiness is to understand and to live in harmony at all levels of being. The self, human family, society, nature and existence. This shift from here to here and from here to here, it may not be a complete shift. It must be taking time, and it will take time, isn't it? Many of you keep sharing, okay, that you were here and slowly you are moving here, but many times you back to here, no? isn't it? Yes, fluctuating here and there. But good thing is that at least you are not just here. Huh? You are not stuck here. You are trying to move from here to here. And how much you move from here to here will depend upon how much you have understood. Right? So that is the measure of your understanding. If you have understood the reality completely, then there will be a total move from here to here. So can you see this shift before UHV2 and after UHV2? Now after UHV3 there are some more shifts which will take place, and what is that shift? If you see, so this is what it is, shift from before UHV2 and after UHV2. So UHV2 is focused on to initiate the process of self-exploration in you, the realization that human being is coexistence of self and body, which in turn leads to the following shift in perception. Right? Human being is equal to body, human being is coexistence of self and body. So all this we have already discussed, in brief. So this is what is there before and after UHV2. With UHV2, following must have happened: your qualification for UHV3. These four things must have happened in you, and if these have happened, then you are now qualified to work with UHV3, right? So you can check for yourself whether these qualifications are there. You have concluded that this content about the existential reality is relevant for you. It is your own need to understand it in depth. So you are not coming here just because, the institute is organizing some course, but it is something which is a need for you, right? You want to understand the existential reality in more depth, and therefore you are here. On the basis of the effort you have put in to understand this content and to live accordingly, you have concluded that you have to work on yourself first. Is that clear? You have to work on yourself first, not trying to set others right. No, first you have to work with yourself. You are responsible for your happiness and unhappiness. Have you realized this? Yes. The other or the situation are only a triggering point. Can you see this? How many of you can see these 2 points? You have to work on yourself first, and you are responsible for your happiness and unhappiness. Good number. How many of you are not able to see? I think that is easier to count for me. Okay, good. You are able to see that you are the coexistence of self and body, while most of the effort you may have been making are for fulfilling the needs of the body. You expect or desire to further understand the coexistence of the self with the body and live accordingly. So you might still be getting, struggling with this need of the body. But now you realize that yes, there is need to shift, okay, from just fulfilling the need of the body to fulfilling the need of the self as well as the need of the body. Able to see all this, you are qualified to attend this UHV3, right? It has become a need for you. This is in a way rephrased, You can read through this details for you to verify for yourself. I have nothing to explain, it's quite self-explanatory. You can read through and see for yourself whether this has taken place in you or not. I think these are the good points, In the afternoon we can take up. Yes. Take up and ask for the reflections of the people.
Yeah, in the reflections also and in the impact study also.
Eh?
In the impact study also.
Yes. This is the impact. This can be the basis for your impact study. 4 things. Ultimately, you have decided to understand things in depth yourself. You have questions for which you are committed to find answers, right? So we presume that you have come up with those questions, to find answers. And the expected shift through UHV-3, that is, if you go through this whole workshop, what is the expected shift? One is, if we have undergone the shift 1 through UHV-2 mentioned in the last lecture, we are ready to work for further shift through the process of self-exploration in UHV-3. It has become our need to understand the existential reality in depth and to live accordingly. Otherwise, we need to keep working hard for ensuring shift 1 along with working for shift 2. It is needless to say that the task now is going to be far more difficult and challenging. However, if we have realized the acute need for it, we will be able to do it. So what we are saying is that the task that we have been doing through UHV-2, now this task is much more challenging, so much more difficult and challenging. But if I feel that it is important for me, then I am willing to take that challenge. So with that willingness, we are going further. We will now try to get an idea about the shift that is expected to take place if we go through the process of self-exploration in this course. So this is the shift. The focus of UHV-3 is to help for the second shift to take place, that is to see that self is central to human existence, body is used as an instrument, which I just mentioned, right? So not only that I am not just the body, but I am the coexistence of self and body. Now I should be able to see that it is the self which is central to human existence, and the body is used just as an instrument as and when necessary. Very interesting. If you now start looking at yourself, you would see that you hardly use your body, not even 1% of your time. Like you are sitting here, right, listening. How much time is spent in listening to the word which is pronounced by me? And how much time you are spending trying to reflect, explore, understand what is being said in the self. So I speak a few words, right? It's a matter of seconds or a few minutes. But you are reflecting over it for hours, right? Isn't it? And when you are reflecting over it, you are not using the body, or you are using the body to reflect. When you are trying to explore something within, are you using your body to explore? No. You are doing it, self is doing it, right? You used your body to get this information from me. I spoke some words, or there is something written here, you read it, right? While reading, you made use of your body. But while exploring, are you making use of your body, or you are doing it in your own self? Self. Yeah. See, in last 2 hours you are speaking something for the first time, right? And you have been exploring all through, isn't it? That is what is happening. 11 o'clock we started this session. Now it is 12:40. So 1 hour 40 minutes. So 100 minutes, okay, of exploration and few seconds of your expression, right? When you are using your body. That is what I am saying. Not even 1%. So the self is central to human existence, body is used as an instrument. And now if you look at the self, the need of human being is continuous happiness. This continuous happiness is the need of the self or need of the body? Need of the self, which is fulfilled by understanding the coexistence and feeling and thought of coexistence. This understanding the coexistence, where is it taking place? In the self or in the body? Self. So it is an activity of the self. This feeling and thought of coexistence, where is it taking place? In the self or body? Self. So this is also activity of the self. So interestingly, this need for continuous happiness and its fulfillment is related to the self and not the body. This is expressed naturally in the form of mutually fulfilling behavior with human being, mutually enriching work with rest of nature, and participation in the larger order leading to undivided society and universal human order. When you are doing this expression, then you use your body, isn't it? This need is of the self, this fulfillment is at the level of self, but when you are expressing this with the world outside, then you are using the body as and when necessary. So who is playing the central role, the self or the body? Self. The issue, the main issue is the need of the self and fulfillment of that need of the self by the activities of the self. So this is one shift which has to take place. Same thing is being said here. Okay. Assuming human being equal to body, understanding human being coexistence of self and body, realizing that self is central to human existence and body is used as an instrument. This shift has to take place. This is the final cross chart. Human being is self, is coexistence of self and body. This is after UHV-2. Expected after UHV-3 is self is central to human existence, body is used as an instrument. Existence is unit submerged in space, same thing, continues. Purpose is continuous happiness and prosperity. Happiness is to be in a state of harmony. Now this becomes continuous happiness. Happiness is to be in a state of coexistence. Prosperity is a part of it, which I have just explained, in the first part. That now you can see that prosperity is an integral part of continuity of happiness, which is ensured by ensuring being in harmony or in a state of coexistence. The program is to understand and to live in harmony at all levels of being, the human being, the family, the society, the nature and existence. Now you can see that to understand, the program is to understand the coexistence, to have the feeling and thought of coexistence and to live in coexistence. So now it has become more, condensed. The same thing, this as well as this. This was focused on the units. Now it is focused in the units and the space, the coexistence as a whole.
Ganeshi, the purpose of the body, how would you, what would be the purpose of the body?
The body is used as an instrument, therefore ultimately the purpose of the body would be to ensure the fulfillment of the purpose of the self. Right? And why it is used as an instrument? It is used as an instrument to interact with the world outside. Instrument, so it does not have a purpose by itself. Its purpose is defined with respect to the self which is using it as an instrument. So that is the purpose of the body. What role it has to play? The role it has to play is in terms of connecting with the world outside, the other human being as well as the rest of the nature. Isn't it? So what she was saying that, to express I need body. Okay? Like I am expressing my, understanding with you, my feeling with you. In order to do that, I am using my body as an instrument. You are using your body, as an instrument to listen to what I am saying. Right? Once you listen to that, then you are reflecting, you are exploring. That is happening at the level of self.
Actually, I could understand that need of self, and also I am using my body as an instrument. Same way, I am seeing others also. They are using their body as an instrument to express what they are thinking in their own self. But sometimes they are thinking something in their self, but reacting in other way. So through myself, I can able to find what they are thinking in their mind. They are thinking in other way, but they are expressing by using their body in other way. So that way I am facing problem. Sometimes I could able to identify what they are thinking in their own self. For my own self, I could able to understand. Like others are not reacting, using their instrument in other way, proper way. I am in a situation so that I am also putting my instrument in a other way. So that is some problem arising. So how we can solve this type of understanding?
See, generally the problem is not with the body. The problem is with the self only. Okay. Because body, unless body has some disability,
But they
body
are
may have
reacting.
some disability.
I am seeing that they are not conveying what they are thinking in their mind, but they are using their instrument in other way. So the problem arises. They are not telling exactly what they are feeling in their own self. Yes, many situation, even like.
Yeah, but this acting, what do you think? This acting is being decided by the self or by the body? Self. So the problem is with the self, right? I can understand that there is problem in the self and still I can have the right feeling for the other. And I can keep my behavior properly with the other. Then I will try to help the other to improve upon himself or herself, right? If I have the right understanding.
Bhaiya, what the ma'am is trying to represent here.
Yes.
What ma'am is trying to represent here is probably she is talking about the physical gestures where the inner feeling is something negative. Maybe, for example, negative towards the person in front of me, but physically I am behaving in a positive way. So the feelings are negative inside, but the physical response or body gestures are positive. for the sake of manifestation, for the sake of expression. So how this kind of situation can be resolved? Probably this is the question she has imposed.
Yeah, I mean, I responded with that background only.
Ji.
I am saying, if this is being done, the problem is at the level of self or problem is at the level of body?
Absolutely, self.
Self. Yeah. So you have some feeling, some thought, and then parallelly you also have another set of feeling, another set of thought, right? Deep down you think that the first feeling and the thought was good, but you can't express it, it will create trouble, right? So you are using the second set of feeling and thought and you are expressing it through your body. The problem is not with the body. Okay. Problem can be with the body if the body has some disability. Right? Some part of your body is not working, some part of your brain is not working, then there can be problem with the body. But the case that you are talking about, this is a problem with the self only. Right? Now, if I understand this, right, and if I have the right understanding in myself and right feeling in myself, I will not get affected by this kind of behavior. Right? So I will be in a state of harmony within, I will have the right feeling for the other, and I will behave with the other in a proper manner, despite the fact that he is not behaving properly, he or she is not behaving properly. Right? Then what will happen? He will accept my behavior, but he may respond to it or he may not respond to it. He may even react to it. Right? All those possibilities are there. But as far as I am concerned, what will I do? I will have the right feeling, be happy and behave properly. Isn't it? It will take some time, but slowly his reaction or response will also start changing. Right? But even if it does not change, for my happiness I have to do this. Right?
Maya, I have a question. The self is central to human existence. So, is it like we mean to say here is we have a self, all of us are having a self which is innate and similar. Is that the appropriate meaning for this sentence, Maya?
We will explore. The second part we will explore
Okay.
whether this self is same in all of us, whether the innate nature of this self is same in all of us, all this we will explore. What we are saying now is that if I have to take care of as myself as a human being, where do I focus? I focus on the self or I focus on the body? That's the first thing that we are saying. Because till now what is happening? Most of the time we are focused with the body only. Body, the need of the body, the physical facility, all that, right? We have not cared for the self. In UHV-2 we said we have to care for the body and we have to care for the self. Now we are saying that the main thing is to care for the self. If I take care of the self, I will also take care of the body, as a byproduct. That is what is being said. But what is the nature of the self, whether it is same for all of us, whether there is some innateness in the self which can be understood and ensured in all of us, all those questions we will answer.
But the meaning for this sentence is like, how can I have a clarity on this particular statement? Is my question, Maya.
Yeah, so this is what I am saying, that the meaning of this sentence, self is central to human existence, is that the main role is played by the self and not by the body.
Okay, Maya.
The decisive role is taken by the self. All this we have already discussed. And there is another shift which has to take place, and that is about the existence. So if you look at the existence, coexistence is central to existence. and therefore understanding of coexistence, harmony and relationship, the feeling and thought of coexistence, harmony and relationship in the self is central to continuous happiness in the self. So, two things, one is self is central to human existence, second coexistence is central to the existence. Therefore, this continuous happiness is ensured by way of understanding this coexistence and the feeling and thought of coexistence, and ultimately living in coexistence. What is, essential thing to do for me as a human being, as a human conduct. Huh?
Last sentence, sir. Last, living in a relationship, harmony,
Living in
coexistence
coexistence, harmony and relationship
as
human being
self is
central
central.
for human conduct in the human being. So, what is the central to human conduct? Living in coexistence, harmony and relationship. Number one, self is central to human existence. Number two, coexistence is central to existence, and as a consequence of this, living in coexistence is central to human conduct. That is what is being said. What is the core of human conduct? Living in coexistence. Coexistence, harmony and relationship. That is the core of human conduct.
Sir, what I was asking is it an error as human being is central for human conduct, or as self is central for human conduct?
Living in coexistence, harmony, relationship as human being, one part, is central for human conduct in human being.
Okay. Bracket.
Okay. We have 5. This is interesting thing, shift 1 and 2, explore into the question, what is the center of our living? This you remember, we have to keep asking this question to ourselves all through. Okay. Where are you focused? Physical facility and body, or you have gone up, now sensation and feeling from the other has become an issue. You have still gone up, feeling from within has become an issue for you. Still up, started paying attention to this self, but you are largely focused on your imagination, the feeling, thought and expectation, or preconditioning and assumptions, the sanskar, or still you have gone up and you are there at the level of pure observer, the natural acceptance, and then you have still gone up and you are able to focus at the level of coexistence, at the level of space. Just remember, we will look into this in detail, in next session. Possibilities, these are the places which can be the center of your being. I will discuss about them in detail. Okay. So, from my side I will stop here. If there are any question left, we have 2-3 minutes left, I can respond to the question. Yes.
Sir, I will try to frame. On now. Okay. Sir, in continuation to the question, that purpose of body is to help the self understand. Many a times I am getting confused till what extent to use body, sometimes if I get involved in a work which is helping me to understand, I forget about it. And
Forget
then
about the body.
body.
Yes.
And then later, I completely withdraw myself from that work because now I am into focus of the body. Now question is, in the coexistence, what is expected from the self? कि उन्हें उस पर्पस को पूरा करने के लिए बॉडी को छोड़ना भी पड़ा तो ठीक है क्या?
See, the self is using the body for the purpose of understanding, for the purpose of expressing the feeling, right? But the self also has the sense of responsibility towards the body. So it is the self who has to make, make this balance. So on the one hand, I am using the body to fulfill my purpose of right understanding, right feeling and right thought. On the other hand, as a part of that right feeling and right thought, I have the feeling of responsibility towards the body also. So I am taking care of the body. So that balance I have to work out. Yeah. And see, what is happening is that if we have the right kind of education and sanskar system, this will go in a very natural manner. Today what has happened is that we have grown up, spent 30 years, 40 years of our life, 50 years of our life without having right understanding and right feeling. And now suddenly we have a proposal and we feel that time is lost, what to do, rush, and so don't rush, Do whatever can be done in a balanced manner now for yourself, and there is enough opportunity to do even now. Then help the next generation, okay, to get it at an earlier age. So when a teacher is trying to get this, for him there is a hurry because he or she has lost a lot of time. But when they are giving it to the student at the age of 18, 19, right? They have enough time, 80 years of their life. So they will not have this problem. Huh? Yes.
So, sir, we are used to see the material world, and we think that existence is material. But after UHV2, we understood that I am coexist with body. But when I see physically, I believe, but I don't see self. So by activities of self, I understand that I am there. But when I am not aware, then I see again I am a material. So this fluctuation is.
Yeah, this is when you say you cannot see, what is the meaning of seeing? What is the meaning of seeing things?
Seeing is by understanding.
Let me ask this question. How do you know that the body is there?
By sensations.
By observing the shape of the body, right? Okay. Now close your eyes. Are you still able to see that the body is there?
Yes.
Yes. How?
Feel the sensations.
You feel some sensation, right? Okay? Who is seeing this sensation?
Myself.
Self. Right? And this sensation is what? Is an activity in the body, seen by the self. So ultimately when you are seeing something, what you are seeing is the activity, whether in the body or in the self. isn't it? Now, if you are seeing the activity, you can directly see the activity of the body, activity of the cell both. This is our assumption that seeing something means seeing the shape. That is not the right assumption. Seeing something means seeing the activity of it. That is how I can see the body when my eyes are closed.
I have a question. Yes, clarification.
But he has already said last question. But
With the permission of my co-explorers. Or we stop it after that last. Okay?
yeah. Please go ahead, just we'll close
Yeah.
that.
It is said that we are responsible for our happiness or unhappiness. We hold it. But my co-explorer said he missed the train because of traffic jam. He felt very unhappy. How will he hold the responsibility of his unhappiness?
See, this is what I have answered to it, but I can answer again. The train is likely to be missed. Why do I depend my happiness or unhappiness in getting the train or missing the train? Okay. That is the problem. So I will start in time, but it is still possible for me to miss the train because there are n number of circumstances
Yes.
which can lead to that condition. Yeah, so why should I depend my happiness or unhappiness in catching the train or not catching the train? Something which is transitory in nature cannot be source of continuous happiness. That was the answer I gave that time. But I can explain it, in more detail.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So, for example, I want to meet all of you. Okay? Express my feeling of relationship for all of you. But I meet some of you and some of you I am not able to meet, which is fine. Many of you we have been meeting over Zoom, right? We recognize each other's voice. Okay? But we did not meet physically. Okay? This time there is an occasion where I can meet you physically, good. I will use this as an opportunity, and share whatever I have to share, in a physical mode. Otherwise, online also we were sharing so many things. But while coming, I would have missed, the many reasons I would not have been able to come. Yeah? But that cannot be source of my unhappiness. Yeah. So we'll stop here.